Hello everyone and welcome to day 5 of Star Trek Timber 2016. So, let's begin our episode reviews for today with the last episode of Season 1, Operation Annihilate. Dun dun dun! The Federation starship, the USS Enterprise, is tracking a path of a mass insanity that has gripped several planets in its wake, causing collapse of their civilizations. They approach Geneva, a Federation outpost where Captain Kirk's brother, Sam, has been stationed along with Sam's wife, Aurelin, and son, Peter. On entering the system, they witness the ship directly dive into the local sun, its pilot raving incoherently about being free up until its destruction, and the Enterprise crew fear they may be too late. Uh-oh. Transporting to Geneva, First Officer Spock, Chief Medical Officer Dr. McCoy, and security detail find the outpost quiet. A group of men from the outpost come out and try to warn the landing party away and suddenly fall into a fit of violence. Kirk has the men stunned, and McCoy finds that they are still being stimulated to behave violently despite being unconscious. They explore the output and find the corpse of Sam Kirk, while Aurelian is acting rationally before passing out, and Peter is insatiate. Kirk and McCoy return with the survivors to Enterprise, where McCoy finds they are suffering from violent tendencies similar to the outpost men. McCoy gives both painkillers, and Aurelin wakes briefly to warn Kirk that some agency had forced them to bring them to the planet months ago, and this agency is looking to spread beyond the planet through the ability to control people's bodies. Aurelin dies from the pain. Ugh. Kirk returns to the planet and joins Spock in search for these entities. They find a number of macroscopic single-cell organisms attached to the walls and ceiling of one building. The organisms fly and attempt to attack the humans. The landing party finds they are immune to phaser fire. One makes contact with Spock before they can pry it off, and Spock falls in pain. They transfer back to the Enterprise, and McCoy determines that the creature has injected some of its tissue into Spock's spinal column, and it will be impossible to remove surgically. When Spock regains consciousness, he is able to break free of his bonds and attempts to take control of the ship, but McCoy sedates him in time. Later, Spock apologizes to Kirk and asserts that his mental discipline can control the pain, but that he must return to the surface to acquire a specimen to study. Kirk and McCoy agree, and Spock, on return to the outpost, is able to stun a creature. Returning to the Enterprise, Spock determines that the creatures are part of a hive mind and apparently indestructible. They recall the ship pilot that claimed he was free before diving into the sun, and suspect the sun's properties may harm the creatures. Despite numerous tests, Spock and McCoy fail to find a solution. Kirk holds a senior staff meeting, asserting they must find a solution before these creatures reach the next inhabited planet, holding over 1 million people, without harming them. A debate ensues, but Kirk rejects offered solutions as having too high a toll. While using a communication device on the wall, he realizes that they have not tried visible light as a means to defeat the creatures. Spock volunteers to be exposed to an intense beam of light without eye protection, and while the test proves that ultraviolet light will kill the creatures without harming others, Spock, freed of the influence of the creatures, has gone blind from the test. The Enterprise floods the outpost with ultraviolet light from an array of satellites, killing the creatures, and see to the well-being of the survivors. As the Enterprise prepares to leave orbit, Spock reveals that his secondary Vulcan eyelids have prevented permanent blindness, and that he can now again see. Well, that's good. Anyway, let's look at the production elements of the story. William Shatner played the dead body of Sam Kirk with added age makeup and facial hair. The script, which was written by Stephen W. Karabastos, was originally titled Operation Destroy. Aurelin was a Denevian woman in love with a man named Karatan, and it was Karatan who flew the ship into the Denevan sun in the cold open sequence. Aurelin's father was also a major character in the teleplay, and the two colonists were not affected by the Denevan neural parasites. Instead, they helped Dr. McCoy and Mr. Spock with the research into how light could destroy the parasites. The script did not originally end with the Enterprise crew using light to destroy the parasites. Instead, the ship learns the location of the alien's homeworld and destroys the central controlling brain located there. Author James Blish used this draft of the script when adapting the episode for print, and this ending appears in the chapter Operation Annihilate in the anthology Star Trek II. This was the first episode of the series to be directed by Herschel Dougherty. Dougherty will later direct Season 3's The Savage Curtain as well. It was also the first appearance in Star Trek by child actor Craig Hundley, who played Peter Kirk. He also portrayed Tommy Starnes in the third season episode And the Children Shall Lead. Location shooting occurred in 2 places. The scene where the Enterprise landing party beams down to the surface was filmed at the TRW Space and Defense Park, now the Northrop Grumman Space Technology Headquarters, in Redondo Beach, California. The entrance of Sam Kirk's laboratory is the cafeteria on the TRW campus. The exterior of Sam Kirk's laboratory, which features white pylons, is Schomburg Hall at the University of California, Los Angeles. Filming at TRW occurred on February 15, 1967. The new parasites were created by prop designer Wat Cheng from bags of fake vomit. Ugh. The episode aired on April 13, 1967, and was the final episode to air in the series' first season. One scene did not make it into the episode. This scene came at the end of the story and featured Peter Kirk, dressed in a captain's shirt, sitting in the captain's chair on a bridge with his uncle, James T. Kirk, while his uncle, James T. Kirk, agrees to let him return to Deneva to live with Sam Kirk's research partner and friend. Although filmed, it was edited out due to time constraints. This left actor Hundley with no lines in the finished episode. The character of Peter Kirk spends the entire show unconscious. Ugh, well, that's not good if you ask me. So, a pretty decent story with a pretty decent ending. I give Operation Annihilate 3 warp cores out of 5. Well, join me next time as we delve into the first episode of Season 2, Amok Time. Until then, live long and prosper, everybody.